Okay, I've continued to work on my DQV1 test item, and I've put through, basically I've set this up so that there are two factories, Minton and Hua, two separate factories. They're both included in the bid. I don't have a way to just close this out. I think we need a close button here that takes us back to the development area, just the development list. And when I come back here, I need the filter to stay. I need any filter that anyone applies needs to stay until they take it away, no matter how many times they come back. Now, even though I've got two factories quoting and they both supplied quotes, I'm noticing here, okay, it has to choose one and pull one. I don't know what the criteria is there to show which factory. But that's something that I just noticed today. If I have multiple factories, it's only going to show one here, I believe, unless it can show underneath it HH and its cost. So you guys have to let me know if that's possible. Now, I've gone in, let me go to quote history. I started with a very low cost. My cost target is set to $650 for the vendor quote, and I started low and then I increased. So right now I have a third quote from Minton at $665, and I have a second quote from Hua at $645. The problem I see here, number one, there's a few problems here. This total cost should be actually $715 because I have a 50-cent additional component, and it's not pulling and showing here. So this should say $695, that should say $715. So that's not working. So now you can see that I'm at $665 and $645. When I go back to, let's say, quotes from vendors and quotes needing internal review, and I filter down, this shows a quote amount of $2.35 still. It should say $665 here from Minton, and the latest vendor quote should be $3. So this is not working the way I thought it would be needing to work. This should show the latest quotes here. Then when I go to, and let me open this up. This was a simple quote that I put in, but now it's pulling in the full quote. And if this vendor is set to simple quote, it should always pull in the simple quote. If it's detailed, then it should pull in the detailed all the time. And down here, I'm noticing that I can actually edit this, and that's not what should happen. When I'm viewing quotes, this shouldn't be editable unless you've given me the ability with the button here to edit. So let's talk a little bit about this. This should not be editable, although I did edit it to add this in, because when I went to my additional component screen, I'm not able, I don't have the functionality to do this way. It's pulling in a quote sheet. This is not what should pull in when I click on to manage my additional components. It should be a list of items that I can choose and then go in and manage that. So that's not working yet. And cancel doesn't work for me there either. So, and it pulls me over here to vendors. So let's go back to development. Where I'd noticed this really was when I went to go to quote analysis and I filtered down. And I'm looking for my two items with $665 and $645. This is what I see, $2.35. So and that's total cost, and that shouldn't be that. This should be the $715 and $695 showing here for the total cost, not just the vendor cost. For me to analyze this and see what happens. Now I've got 3 items, and that's not how this should work. So we're going to need to go through this and review a little more closely. But throughout the system here, I'm seeing that when you input first, I need this. I need to be able to go in here and pull up an item and have the additional component screen show here. And then when I save that, anytime that I go into quotes from vendors and look at a quote needing review and choose one, I should see the information at the bottom. And in some cases you've given me the ability to edit it, but I don't see that here. And total cost, it just isn't following all the way through, as we've seen in looking at quote history. The system's not picking up the latest costs that I've input, and it's not displaying the total cost correctly. If this is too confusing, call me and we can discuss.